Hello. Hello. Hi. Is this new? Yeah. This is my little 3D model. Fridge artist made it for me. It's gonna be primarily used for VR chat. I just have to figure out how to import it for like community events and things like that. But yeah. Hi. Hello, hello, hello. This is Sena Bonbon, your cinnamon roll bear DIY extraordinaire, and today we're gonna be doing a little bit of creepypasta readings, and then yeah. And then bear with me if the tracking's a little off. I am not paying for the extended plan so far with this streaming service since it's different than VTube Studio, and I'm already paying for that. So we'll just see. If I use it more, then I will obviously upgrade to the better tracking as well. But yeah, I can be angry, but I can't do too many mouth forms. And it does lose tracking a little here and there just because it's with a webcam, because 3D tracking is done with a webcam and not with your phone. But it's nice head angles. When I do the downward, it gets angry at me pretty quick. As you can see now that it's, there we go. If I do that, it just gets a little mad. But yeah, thank you. It's cute. Yeah, I contacted the artist directly because I really liked his style. So that's why I went with that. But I've been sitting on this for like months, and I'm like, I don't really know if I want to debut this or if I want to just like do like a haha. So I think it makes sense in a quick little gorilla stream. I am really loud right now. Okay. Creepy Sena. Boom, here it is. Kinda. You can see all my head angles. Once again, it's mad at me for going down too far. But yeah, it's weird to see. I have to like intentionally think pretty hard to get it to do it. But yeah. But maybe if I have my glasses off, it tracks better. Oh my god, it does. Oh, that's insane. Okay. YouTube Studio's not like that. Look, my head turns pretty good too. Oh, okay. Yeah. I can like rotate myself. Get rotated. Get rotated. What? I literally just have myself at a permanent 3/4 angle. Hi, how are you? Hi. Do a flip? I don't know if I can. No, it's like tethered, right? It's like kind of like an anchor point. So I can get rotated. I don't think it'll flip for me. No. So I do have obviously like the full body. For whatever reason, it does not want to shift there. Hello. I would like to have my head cut next. I would like to feel true little sister experiences. Hi. Also, music's a bit loud. But get rotated. The music's pretty loud. That's so crazy because I can feel like I turned it down. Okay. Maybe because it's not loud on my end, and so it just doesn't seem loud to me. So yeah, I guess we'll get into reading the creepypastas in a couple minutes. Letting people come in. Oh yeah, there's my butt. Got my little bear detail on my butt. Okay. Or he didn't make my butt like round enough. But it's okay. It's okay. I'm just glad he gave me some boonga. I was kind of expecting he was just gonna do like almost like a lolly flat avatar because the style is very suited for that. But I was just like, oh, I'll do whatever. So I'm really bad for that for like artists where I'm just like, oh, I'll just do whatever, and then I'm like, I probably wouldn't have done it that way, but it's still really good. So, here's my belt. He did really good with the belt. He did all the custom textures and stuff with the hair pins and the little stuff on my overalls, so it's really nice. Yeah. Wait, the BGM is turned down. Is it still too loud? Really? Alright. Is that better? Good model, thanks. Blah, 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 blah. I moved too quick and then it got mad at me. But yeah, let's let me get set up to wait, where'd my hand go? Like hello. The hope is to get at least half body tracking for this kind of thing. But that will probably end up being in VR chat. So, but I'm hoping to do some sort of like community events or something. That'd be nice. Okay. Chinning you up. And my eyes are like tweaking now that I don't have glasses on. I'm like, why is everything so bright? Track me. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Alright, I have some pulled up. And I think I'm just gonna like get into it. Is the background better now? I was gonna ask her to dance. Oh wait, I think they have like expressions. Give me one sec. Let's see. Quick panel. Action. So, alright. Here's my whole little body. Boom. I can praise. Praise. I can. Okay. I can raise my hand. I can. Happy. Happy, happy, happy. I'm sad. You know? And then I can do these. I can do these. Ooh. Stylish. Up. Boo bounce. Hey. What? What's that? That's what that feels like. Yeah. I wish I could just like stay in this pose. Boom. And then just talk to you from that pose. Just like, hey guys. Anyways. And then I can point at you. Ready? Okay, here's the true Sena experience. Let me turn on the echo for this because it will be mucho gusto. What? There you go. Copies her movement. What? Okay, anyway. Slav squat creepypastas. Dude, right? Like, it's be so bad. One day, I opened the door, and Pippa was standing there, and she was breathing out her mold spores into the world. That's the creepypasta. Okay. Oh, and I have expressions. They got, like, set expressions, which is nice, because, like, the full package will probably allow me to have the full whatever, but let's ink. And fun. Fun. Joy. Ah! And then sorrow. Surprise. Ah. And neutral. Neutral. Oh god. Alright, let's see. I think that's everything that this particular program offers. I'm pretty sure a lot of, I mean, I could see who's played this on Steam, so I figure pretty much everyone I know who has a 3D model uses this for streaming. So I have to, like, pick their brains. Like, Bags uses it, Carrie uses it, Rika Paprika uses it, has used it anyway. Yeah. Oh, I guess I don't need to run Viewer Studio. Let me try to make it less beefed up. Okay. Alright. Now for the spooky reading. Why do they call it creepypasta? Because it's creepy. Like a coffee pasta, but creepy. Alright. I just like did a best of list, so hopefully some of these are actually creepy. I mean, it is a gorilla. You can't expect the most high effort. I did set up an entire 3D model to stream with before I set up this. I would have streamed at like 11 exactly, but it took me like 20 minutes to set it up and then I hit it. So. Okay. It's something that scares Italians. Yeah, splitting the pasta in half. Basically, that's all it is. Okay, here's my compilation. I'm splitting the pasta. Oh god. Okay, now you guys are gonna like see all the time where like if I look away, first of all I have eye twitch sometimes when I'm tired, so that'll be fun. And then my left eye, this one that I have closed, I end up like blinking with only my right eye sometimes because I'm reading chat on my other screen and I need to blink, so I'll just blink my right eye. And it doesn't track as much in VTube Studio, but it definitely tracks in this. Oh, that's probably a little weird. Oh, dang it, I covered my mouth, so now it's not at me. Oh, thank you. Just make me want spaghetti. Creepy spaghetti. Spaghetti. Have you, did your parents ever call spaghetti sketties? My dad, he's like, y'all want some sketty? Oh my gosh. I kind of do. I'm really full though. I had a really good dinner. I made chili lime rice with paprika, and then chili lime adobo and nothing but elote seasoning on my chicken, and then I did a creamy cilantro dip dressing, and then butternut squash, which is like butter, salt, and pepper. Really good. Very good. Your dad is weird. Oh well, this has been established. Chicken. Noise. Yeah. I gotta figure out what I want to do tomorrow. I guess maybe I'll let you guys choose. Tomorrow I'm either doing some sort of Asian or I'm gonna do tomato soup. Because I have tomatoes from my garden. They're the last round of tomatoes, so we'll see. Okay. I'm kind of like gonna move this just a little bit. Okay. Stop making me drool. I'm not even describing it. Oh, very nice. Yeah. Okay. Excuse me. That is well beyond your carbon allowance. Season 5. Let me tell you something. I don't care. I don't care. I don't care. I don't care. Someone said, oh, yeah. I was watching Fauna stream earlier, and she said, like, recycling one of her S-tier chores, and I was like, you recycle? Hello? I was like, oh, no. What you do is, you get all of your paper trash in a pile and you burn it. Burn your trash, called a burn pile. Have a little bonfire, then you get to have s'mores over it. And then all the other stuff just goes to the landfill, because guess what? Recycling plants also have landfills. Duh. We forgive the normies, for they know not what they do. Amen. Amen joy. I don't know why I started doing that. I started doing that in like high school. Also, Sena, you have to stop your PSL. Design is too hot. Oh. Nah. It's almost completely done. I just finished 2 of the other open mouth forms, and then it will be released to a good home. But I'm gonna encourage... Sorry, I'm like playing with stuff on my desk. Like ADHD, like, gotta keep my hands active. No, I kind of want to encourage, like, people who have never streamed before to take up the model. Just because it's like, oh, okay, like, you're just switching. That's fine and all, but, like, I kind of want to see someone like myself take it up. Because I had never streamed before now. And I don't know, I kind of like to see it, you know? So, the ratings channel! I moved too quick and now it's mad at me again. Recognize me! Okay. What about using it for building materials? I like using recycled materials for building materials. I think a lot of times they end up being really strong. I want to do... Oh crap, what is it called? I want to do like an Earthship style house where it's like clay and straw. And you can adapt it to your climate. And you just like adapt the mixing. And then you get to like make everything from scratch, and you can do like recycled pieces in that way and incorporate it into the design itself. And I don't know, they're just really cool. Plus you can like build it in the side of a like a hill, and it stays pretty well in that. So I don't know. I always wanted to have like a house in the woods in the side of a hill with like made from the earth. Not like Hobbit hole, but bigger. Much bigger. Because I am a tall bitch. I am no hobbit. I feel like Gandalf the Great just like hunched over in my own home. I don't think so. I don't know why I had to do a whole LOTR reference. I do like Lord of the Rings, but I would not say I'm well versed enough to be doing tons of references. Okay. I used my iPhone 4 for 12 years. We don't understand how much garbage waste products is generated when creating these products. So true. I'm only gonna have to update my phone only because a lot of the parts of it on it are broken. Because I dropped it over the railing at my home when I was like home from school. This is like a couple years back. So I've like managed to keep it. My phone coverage plan has like a warranty. But I got my screen replaced. That was all cracked up, but like a bunch of stuff inside of it internally. It's just a little jank. So LTR is short for lots of traditional relationships. Yummy! Okay. Alright, this is going to... I'm getting so side railed. Not like... I mean, as a gorilla, I can kind of just do what I want, right? Okay. Regardless. Been drowned. Estimated reading time, 47 minutes? Why is this so long? That's too long. Sorry. That sounds very long. Oh, this one. That sounds so freaking long. 47 minutes? 77 minutes? Where's the short stories? Hello? 26? Oh my god, why are these novels? Yes, because I want to read just one. Hello? 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 29 minutes! Oh my god, you have got to be... Hello? 24 minutes? Why are these so long? Okay, well, we're gonna use this first one. Yeah, been drowned is a cup of tea affair. Yeah, it's very long. I'm not reading it. Okay, this one, if you're armed and at the Glenmount Metro, please shoot me. Okay. Estimated reading time, 12 minutes. Mwah, love that. If you're armed and at the Glenmount Metro, please shoot me. Make it a headshot. Shoot me in the temple, aiming slightly downwards. I need the bullet to travel the shortest possible distance through my brain before it hits my hippocampus. If I'm lucky, the sensation of the gunshot ripping through my skull will only last a few decades. As awful as this sounds, you'll be doing me an enormous favor. Death by headshot as soon as possible is vastly better than the alternative. My ordeal started over 10,000 years ago at 10:15 this morning. I earn extra money by participating in drug trials. I'm a so-called healthy subject who takes experimental drugs to help assess side effects. Once it was a kidney drug. A few times it's been something for blood pressure or cholesterol. This morning they told me the drug I took was a psychoactive substance intended to accelerate brain function. None of the drugs I had tested so far have ever done anything for me in the recreational sense. In other words, none of the drugs I've tested have given me a killer buzz or mellowed me out or anything. Maybe I've always ended up the placebo group, but nothing I've tested had affected me at all. Today's drug is different. This shit worked. They gave me a pill at 10:15 and told me to hang out in the waiting room until they called me back for some tests. Only about 30 minutes, the research assistant told me. I flopped onto the waiting couch and read a few articles from a copy of Psychology Today that was sitting on the coffee table. They hadn't called me back when I finished the Psychology Today, so I picked up a US News and read it cover to cover. Then I read an old Scientific American. What was taking them so damn long? News and Oh, what was taking them so damn long? I can't, my eyes are squinching, I don't have glasses. I sluggishly turned my head to look at the wall clock. It was only 10:23. Ooh, not even 10 minutes. I had read all 3 magazines in 8 minutes. I remember thinking this was going to be a long day. I was right. The waiting room had a little bookshelf with some used hardcovers on it. When I stood up to walk to the bookshelf, it felt like my legs barely worked. It's not that they were weak, they were just slow. It took a full minute just to stand up off the couch and another minute to take 2 steps to the bookcase. I scanned the old books on the shelf and picked out a copy of Moby Dick. My arms had the same problems as my legs. Just reaching 1 foot in front of me to grab the book took a long time. I actually got bored just waiting for my hand to reach the spine of the book. Hello, Sena. It's going good. Podcasts. I slogged back to the couch and collapsed onto it in a slow-motion fall that reminded me of the low-gravity hops of astronauts on the moon. I opened Moby Dick, slowly, and began reading. I started with Call Me Ishmael, and got as far as Ahab throwing his pipe into the sea, which was all the way to the frickin' chapter 30 before they called me back. How are you feeling? The research assistant asked me. I feel slow, I said. Actually, it's the other way around. Everything seems slow because you're so fast. But my legs, my arms, they're moving in slow motion. Your body seems like it's moving slowly because your brain is fast. Your brain is running 10 or 20 times faster than normal. You are thinking and perceiving reality at an accelerated pace. But your body is still constrained by the laws of biomechanics. Frankly, you're moving so much faster than a normal person. She pantomimed a jogging motion. But your brain is running so much faster right now that even your fast walk seems very slow to you. I thought about my slow motion flop onto the couch. Even if my muscles had slowed down, my body would still react to gravity the same way, but in the waiting room, I even fell in slow motion. Slow muscles couldn't even explain why gravity seemed weaker. My brain was going at warp 10. That's how I managed to read the 3 magazines in the first 30 chapters of Moby Dick in 15 minutes. They ran a series of tests on me. The physical tests were fun. They made me juggle 3 balls, then 4, then 6. I had no problem keeping 6 balls in the air because they seemed to be moving so slowly. It was boring, frankly, waiting for each ball to move through its arc so I could catch it with my slow motion hands and toss it back into the air. They threw Cheerios in the air and I caught them with chopsticks. They dropped a handful of coins and I counted the total value before they hit the ground. The cognitive tests were less fun, but very illuminating. Finish a 50-word search, 3 seconds. Solve an intricate maze drawn onto a poster-sized paper, 2 seconds. View a slideshow projected at 10 images per second and answer detailed questions about what I saw, 95% accurate. They told me I measured over 250 of the Knopf scale. Apparently, that's deep into the superhuman range of thinking speeds. Then they sent me home. It'll wear off in a few hours, they said, which will seem like days to you. Try to use the residual effects to get some work done. Catch up on work emails while you're still in high-speed mode. The ride home was horrible. It was only 3 metro stops, and in real-world time, it only took about 35 minutes, but in my drug-accelerated hyper time, it felt like days. Days. Just walking out of the medical research suite to the elevator seemed like it took an hour. I sprinted out of the office, willing my legs to push me faster, but the laws of biomechanics held me prisoner. As accelerated as my brain was, I couldn't do anything to make my legs work faster. A huge disconnect between my body and mind made it extremely difficult to judge how and when to slow down, turn, or rotate my body. I had basically turned into giant, slow-motion stacks. I misjudged my speed and rammed into the wall by the elevator button at a pretty good speed. Even though I could see the wall coming at me, I couldn't make my finger outstretched to hit the elevator button, moving way fast enough, and I jammed it against the wall, hard. The pain was intense. If my brain had been running at regular speed, it probably only would have lasted for 30 seconds or so, but in my accelerated state, the intense pain seemed to last for half an hour, 45 minutes maybe? The elevator ride was horrible. It felt like I spent 4 or 5 hours just descending 7 floors with nothing to look at but the interior of the elevator car. I sprinted to the metro station. I have to admit this part was almost fun. Even though my body moved at what seemed to me super slow speed, I could still carefully choose how and where to place my feet swing my arms, and turn my torso. It only took a block or two to get being used to having a brain that ran 24 times faster than my body. Then I basically sprint danced the rest of the way, twisting and juking between people on the sidewalk and dodging moving cars with inches, aka minutes, of clearance. Are any of these scales real? I don't know. I spent an hour in my time frame descending into the subway and running into the platform. Endless tedium waiting the 6 minutes for the red line train to arrive. Although there was more to look at on the metro platform than inside the elevator, it was still intensely boring. I should have stolen that copy of Moby Dick. The red line train soared into the station in slow motion. The normally high-pitched squeal of its brakes was frequency shifted by my high-speed mind to a long, low tone, like a monotone tuba solo. That's interesting. He's missing out on so much doom scrolling, I know! It wasn't just the squealing subway train that was 3 octaves lower than normal. All sound was slow to the point of near inaudibility. Voices were gone, shifted below the threshold frequency of my hearing. I did manage to hear a screaming baby on my subway car. Her shrieks slowed to sound like whale songs. Sharp sounds like a car horn and trucks bouncing over potholes were low, muddy roars like distant thunder. Back at the research offices, I could still hear and communicate with the research staff. But now, verbal communication with anyone would be impossible. The effects of the drug were intensifying. I spent what seemed like days on that fucking red line train. Days. Listening to the whale song of the screaming baby and the tuba solo of the brakes. When ordinary voices were frequency shifted out of my audio range, smells didn't seem to be affected. I never became noseblind to the body odor, the stench of the train's brakes, and the melange of farts and other smells wafting through the metro car. I finally got back to my apartment. Sprinting through my open door and into the front hall at full speed was like a show, relaxing drift down a lazy river. I was relieved to be at home. At least I had stuff I could do there. I picked up the book I was reading, 100 Years of Solitude, and finished it. Despite turning pages so quickly that I tore many of them, it seemed like most of the time I spent finishing the book was spent on page turning and not actually reading. 3 minutes had passed since I got home. I tried surfing the internet. My God, it takes a long time for computers to boot these days, but it was too frustrating and slow, hours, seemingly, to load each new page in a fraction of a second to read it. 100 articles in my newsfeed read, and just 3 more minutes done. I dipped into my pile of yet-to-be-read books and finished 2 more. 4 more minutes had passed. I decided to try to sleep off the remaining effects of the drug. Unfortunately, whatever part of my mind is responsible for perception, that part that's been accelerated to hyperspeeds by the drug isn't the same as the part that governs sleep. Despite being awake for what I perceived as days, my physical brain still thought it was 1:25. It was not ready for sleep. Nevertheless, I tried to sleep. I walked to my bedroom, a slow 45-minute drift through my apartment, and flung myself into bed, lazily falling like a feather onto the mattress. Closed my eyes and lay there for hours and hours. 10 minutes of reality time before giving up. Sleep would not come. I was facing what was going to feel like days, or maybe even weeks, of being trapped in slow motion prison. So I took an Ambien. The sensation of the pill and the splash of water I used to swallow it sliding down my throat was sickening. A lump that blocked my breathing, moving like a slug down my esophagus. I read a book. 10 minutes had passed. I read another. 18 minutes since I took the Ambien. I threw the book across the room in disgust at my situation. The book slowly pirouetted and spun through the air like a leaf blowing in a breeze. It hit the wall with a long, faint rumble, the only sound I had heard for what seemed like hours, then drifted to the floor like a flip-flop sinking in a swimming pool. Oh, is this a new model? Yeah! Yep! Yeah, do you like it? Fridge made it on Twitter. The force of gravity hadn't changed since I took the pill. The laws of physics were the same. It was just my perception of time that had gotten wackadoo. This meant I could use the speed things seemed to fall as a way of judging the effects of the drug. Based on how long it took the book to drift to the floor, I estimated the effects of the drugs were still intensifying. I read a magazine, I turned on the television, I clearly saw each frame of video like I was watching a slideshow. Frustrated, I turned the television off. I read some more, the first 2 books of Churchill's A History of the English-Speaking Peoples. Not exactly a light read, frankly I hated it, but given the hours of tedium it would take to get to another book off my bookshelf, just sitting on the couch and reading Churchill was better, or at least less words. It had now been 35 minutes since I took the Ambien. I lay down on the couch and closed my eyes. Time passed. I inhaled. An hours-long process. Time passed. I exhaled. 4 more hours. Sleep would not come. I needed a new plan. I decided to go back to the offices where they gave me the drug. Maybe they would have something that could counteract its effects, or at least something to knock me out until it wore off. I exited my apartment as fast as possible, taking hours of my time frame to do so. I didn't even bother locking the door. It would have taken too long. Down the stairs, it's faster than the elevator if you run, through the lobby, out the front door, and onto the street. These few things felt like a long day at the office. Sprinting down the street, dancing and weaving between pedestrians with what must have looked to them superhuman dexterity, down to the first flight of stairs at the metro. Across the landing, another hour, then onto the second flight of stairs. That's when the Ambien hit me. The Ambien didn't make me sleepy. Not at all. Instead, it must have had severe cross-reaction with the experimental drug I took this morning. I was bounding down the second flight of stairs, moving in slow motion, but still making perceptible progress, then wham! Everything stopped. The dull roar of the street and metro noises ceased, replaced by the most perfect silence I've ever experienced. My downward motion seemed to completely freeze. Before the Ambien kicked in, my perception of time was maybe a few hundred times slower than real time. After the Ambien took effect, time moved thousands of times slower. Every second seemed like days to me. Even just moving my eyes to focus on a new point was like an impossibly slow scroll across my visual field. Over the course of the afternoon, I learned how to walk, run, and jump when my mind ran hundreds of times faster than my body, but with another 4 or 5 orders of magnitude of slowdown caused by the Ambien, body control was almost impossible. I fell on the stairs. Even though I was all but frozen in mid-step, controlling my muscles was impossible. I commanded my foot forward for hours, then backwards for hours, more when it seemed like I would miss the next step. Hours attempting to adjust the angle of my ankle, then readjusting when it felt wrong. Despite these efforts, I rolled my ankle on the next step. The pain wasn't at all mitigated by the slowness. Hours of increasing strain on my bent ankle. The nerve signals that sent the pain into my brain must work differently than the nerves in my ear. Sonic energy was spread out over time, diluted until it was imperceptible. Pain flowed into my brain undiluted by the change in my perception of time. Hours and hours of increasing weight. My turned angle turned into hours of increasing pain upon increasing pain. I pitched forward my high-speed mind, completely unable to control my low-speed body. I drifted downward for days, managing to rotate my torso enough to keep my head from impacting the ground first. I eventually landed on my right shoulder. At first, the impact wasn't even noticeable. Then I felt a slight pressure in my shoulder as it came in contact with the ground. Pressure grew, bringing increasing pain. For hour upon hour, my shoulder finally gave out, popping out of its socket with an endless, sickening tug. I came to a stop days later, crumpled onto the ground, staring at the ceiling, the pain in my shoulder still screaming with the intensity of a fresh, violent injury. I had plenty of time to think during that fall. If every second seemed like days to me, then each minute of real-world time would be like years. Even if the drug cleared out of my system in the next 2 or 3 hours, this nightmare would seem to last centuries. By the time I hit the ground, I had a plan. I would somehow get to the platform and throw myself in front of the train. I twisted onto my hands and knees, days of my dislocated shoulder, crying for relief. I misjudged my rotation and rolled onto my back. I tried again, collapsing onto my face as I tried to figure out how to control a body that moves slower than grass grew. Weeks of effort were finally rewarded with success. I stabilized on my hands and knees. Just getting in all fours was this difficult. I figured that walking or running was completely out of the question, so I crawled. I crawled through the metro tunnel. The dumb looks on the faces in the crowd lingered on me for weeks. I crawled under the turnstile and onto the escalator. The escalator spilled the rush hour crowd onto the platform at the same speed a glacier spills ice into the sea. I looked out over the crowded platform during my interminable downward ride. The train status sign said the next train wouldn't arrive for 20 minutes. 20 minutes was like a year to me. I'd have to spend a year on the metro platform waiting to die. I crawled off the escalator, and during days of stupid expressions on commuters' faces, I crawled a few feet to a concrete bench and curled up next to it, trying to find a position to lessen the pain in my shoulder. Then, my problem with time got worse. Impossibly worse. Sorry, I had to cough. The massive slowdown on the stairs was just the beginning of the interaction between the experimental drug and Ambien. It fully hit me while I was curled up by the bench. I blinked. Years of darkness followed. Sound was already gone, and with my blink, sight was gone as well. All that existed was pain for my fall. My hyper-accelerated mind wasted no time compensating for the lack of sensory input. Voices spoke to me. They sung to me in languages that never existed. Patterns and faces and colors came and went in my mind's eye. I recalled my whole life and imagined living another. I forgot English. I settled into a profound despair. I spoke to God. I became God. I imagined a new universe and brought it to life with my thoughts. Then I did it all again and again. My eyes opened with geologic slowness, a fake glow, weeks, a slit of light, weeks, a narrow view of the metro platform, ankles of the commuters near me, and an advertisement on the opposite wall. I extracted my phone from my pocket. A project that spanned decades. How can I even explain the boredom? The pain in my shoulder is nothing compared to the boredom. Every thought I can think, I have thought hundreds of times already. The view of ankles and advertisements never changes. Never. The boredom is so intense, it's tangible, like a solid object of metal and stone wedged into my skull, inescapable. Wait, time loss? Kinda. This one is superb. So I wait for the train, so I can throw myself under it. When it finally hits me, I will experience the pain of being ripped to pieces for centuries until finally the light of life leaves my brain and my experience ends. I just don't know how that's going to be any better. I don't know how that's going to be any better. I've lived hundreds of lifespans at the foot of this bench. I'm far older in spirit than any human who has ever lived. Most of my life experience has been a snapshot of pain huddled on the floor of a subway platform with an unchanging view of ankles and advertisements. This post is my plan B, my Hail Mary, my long shot. I've spent lifetimes typing and posting this message and hope that someone will read it and be convinced that my suffering must end. Someone on this platform right now, someone who will find the man curled under the bench, the man who crawled down the escalator and killed him as swiftly as possible, a bullet to the temple. If you're armed and at Glenmount Metro, please shoot me. I don't know. It's a good story. Very good pasta. I don't know if it's cool. You know, I wasn't even chills. I was scared. I'm not gonna lose sleep tonight. Time is an illusion. Basically that. Alright. Let's see what else we can get into. That was very well written. It was a little wordy, but very well written. Excuse me. A lot of these are from like 2010s era. Read the cabin with the window. Okay, let me see. Oh, nice. I can tell you what's on this one. This one has psychosis. If you're armed and at Glenmount Station Metro, Ticky Toby, Been Drowned. I think I've read that. The Seer of Possibilities, Bedtime, He Who Wanders, Herobrine, I Found a Letter from My Stalker, Sadie, by H.P. Lovecraft. Oh, maybe sometime later this month we could do another reading. The Game, The Devil Game, The Melancholy of Herbert Solomon, Mr. Widemouth, Don't Let Them In, Survival Guide, The Living History Project, A Shattered Light, Charles Bonnet Syndrome, Artificial, Turn It Off. That's like page 1. The Devil Game is good. The Fairies, The Living History Project, The Harbinger Experiment, The Sandman, The Tulpa. What is that? You guys called me Tulpa before. What is that? The Tulpa. Is it? Is that how you normally pronounce Harbinger? 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 I don't know. Harbinger of death. I don't know. It's either Harbinger or Harbinger. Harbinger. I don't know. I think it's pronounced both ways though. Pretty sure. The Tulpa's a very creepy one though? Or is it the keyhole that's really creepy? I want to read like actually a creepy one. So if the keyhole's really creepy, then we'll read that. Harbinger. Sorry. You have to remember I was homeschooled. Okay. My perfect excuse every time. It always will be. Now it's gone. The keyhole is very creepy. Where'd it go? Where did it go? Hello? Oh, man. I don't think I lost it. I looked really frustrated. Tiki Toby, The Seer of Possibilities, Psychosis, Zero Iron, Been Drowned, Bedtime, Sadie, He Who Wanders, Melancholy, Mr. Widemouth, Feral Grind, Don't Let Them In, Showered Life, Turn It Off, Artificial, The Devil Game, Survival Game, Spirit of Jacob and Rain. Alright, let me just... The Keyhole. Creepy. Okay. Let's read it on actual Reddit. Here we go. Alright. Wait. I don't think this is the full one. This is the full thing. Is it short? Is it really short? Okay, it is short. Okay, never mind. That's short. Okay. Ready? A man went to a hotel and walked up to the front desk to check in. The woman at the desk gave him his key and told him that on the way to his room, there was a door with no number that was locked and no one was allowed in there. She explained that it was a storeroom and that it was out of bounds. She reminded him of this several times before allowing him upstairs, so he followed the instructions of the woman at the front desk, going straight to his room and going to bed. However, the insistence of the woman had piqued his curiosity. So the next night, he walked down the hall to the door and tried the handle. Sure enough, it was locked. He bent down and looked through the wide keyhole. Cold air passed through it, chilling his eye. What he saw was a hotel bedroom, like his, and in the corner was a woman whose skin was incredibly pale. She was leaning her head against the wall, facing away from the door. He stared in confusion for a while. Was this a celebrity? The owner's daughter? He almost knocked on the door out of curiosity, but decided not to. As he was still looking, the woman turned sharply and jumped back from the door. Why is it crashing? Don't crash. Jumped back from the door, hoping she would not suspect he had been spying on her. He crept away from the door and walked back to his room. The next day, he returned to the door and looked through the wide keyhole. This time, all he saw was redness. He couldn't make anything out besides a distinct red color, unmoving. Perhaps the inhabitants of the room knew he was spying on it before and had blocked the keyhole with something red. He felt embarrassed that he had made the woman so uncomfortable, and hoped she had not made a complaint with the woman at the front desk. At this point, he decided to consult her for more information. She sighed and said, "Did you look through the keyhole?" The man told her that he had, and she said, "Well, I might as well tell you the story of what happened in that room. A long time ago, a man murdered his wife in there, and we find that even now, whoever stays there gets very uncomfortable. But these people were not ordinary. They were white all over, except for their eyes, which were red." Oh god, that is really creepy. That's, ooh, I don't like that. I don't like that. Nope. I don't like that at all. Oh god. Oh, that's really bad. Oh, gross. Very gross. There's one on here that's in full Spanish. You imagine? Alex y Ben eran dos amigos muy cercanos. Estudiaban en la secundaria de la ciudad real en la región de Canto. Desde pequeños soñaban con poder entrar en el grupo más famoso de los investigadores y científicos de todo el mundo, por lo que se esforzaban cada día para juntos lograr ese gran sueño. Can you watch the stream with lights on? Sí. A Alex y a Finn les interesaba más la rama relacionada con la tecnología que cualquier otra. Solían desmontar, revisar y armar aparatos sencillos tales como Pokédex o centros de almacenamiento abandonados. Al crecer se dieron cuenta que el sistema de captura de los Pokémon con las Pokéball ordinarias no era muy eficiente. ¿Por qué? No se intenta crear un sistema que permita obtener resultados inmediatos. Se sabía que este tipo de Pokéball se estaba desarrollando en los laboratorios centrales con el nombre de Master Ball, pero era obvio que costarían muchísimo más que una Pokéball simple. I don't know if I'm completely butchering or doing halfway decent. God only knows. Comenzarán a enfocarse más en la creación de un sistema de captura más eficiente y barato. El primer invento de los jóvenes fue un pequeño exoesqueleto, que envolvía la Pokéball, la cual se cerraba automáticamente después de capturar. Será solo un pequeño golpe de suerte. En el cuarto intento, al intentar capturar un Caterpie, esta ponía demasiada resistencia. La bola no se abría por la cerradura automática del exoesqueleto. You're doing good, the story though. Esqueleto, por lo que comenzó a vibrar violentamente, emitiendo pitidos de alta frecuencia. De la nada, la Pokéball dejó de comportarse de esa forma, como si por fin el Caterpie se había rendido. Alex cogió la Pokéball y desactivó el... Is my saying eso esqueleto? I feel like that's okay. Para poder verificar el estado del animal, aquello que salió de la bola dejó en shock por completo a ambos chicos. Speaking Spanish. I need to learn more Spanish. So do I. Una masa sangrienta comenzó a rebosar rápidamente de la Pokémon. Alex la tiró por el susto, mientras que Finn comenzó a gritar fuertemente. Ambos se quedaron callados durante un momento. No se podían creer lo que acaba de ocurrir. De inmediato cogieron las bolsas de la basura y limpiaron el taller. Era el lugar donde solían realizar sus experimentos. Intentaron averiguar cuál fue el problema, y es que si una Pokéball quedaba estancada o algo le impedía abrirse, automáticamente iniciaba el protocolo de la purga. Ambos se dieron cuenta que para poder usar el exoesqueleto, primero se debía desactivar aquel protocolo. Alex le propuso a Finn seguir con las investigaciones, pero Finn, debido al trauma que les causó la muerte del Pokémon, rechazó la idea de una forma muy violenta. Alex quedó solo en taller. Él tenía un sueño. No podía dejarlo todo así. La idea del exoesqueleto podría ser en vale asegurado a las mejores universidades de la región. Aunque su amigo no estuviera al lado, decidió que aún así seguirá mejorando y experimentando con su creación. Ay, caramba. Oh gosh, I'm really doing better than I thought I would, but I'm sure I'm really mispronouncing a lot of things. Al pasar unos meses, Finn vio que su mejor amigo se comportaba de una forma muy distinta, más agresiva, impaciente y siniestra. Impatient and sinister. Decidió seguirlo una noche para poder averiguar en qué lío se había metido. Todo para descubrir que seguía con aquel macabro aparato, solo que esta vez su laboratorio se encontraba en un almacén cerca del río. Finn sorprendió a su amigo, el cual se asustó e intentó explicar qué pasó. Durante todo este tiempo había conseguido quitar el protocolo de nuevo modelo, una Pokéball azul con varias finas estrellas negras que recorrían la parte superior. Finn quedó sorprendido ante tal salto tecnológico, pero aún así algo la preocupaba. ¿Cuántos sujetos de prueba tuvo que usar? Está claro que a la horrorizado la cantidad de víctimas y la tranquilidad con la que Alex confesó su secreto lo dejó temblando. Debería parar el proyecto. No puede seguir causando tantas muertes con sus experimentos. Ni siquiera es un científico calificado, sino que un simple estudiante. Oh, I lost my spot. Where am I? I'm almost done. Almost done. If this filters you, so be it. I feel like... Oh, there it is. Comenzaron a discutir. Finn intentó razonar con Alex, advertirle de las consecuencias legales que intentó quitarle aquella bola del demonio a su mejor amigo. Pero mientras luchaban por ella, se resbaló y se dio con el borde de la mesa metálica del almacén. Al ver que su amigo no se movía, entró en pánico y comenzó a dar vueltas por la habitación, intentando averiguar cuál es la mejor salida de aquella situación. No podía decírselo a los servicios de urgencias Pokéball para aceptar individuos humanos e intentar esconder el cuerpo de Finn. Alex cree que él había muerto. No dudó ni un segundo. Activó el Pokéball
y el cuerpo de fin despereció en un abrir y cerrar los hoyos, salió del almacén y tiró la pokeball al río. De esta forma se aseguraría que nadie encontrara su cuerpo junto con un vidrio, el cual yacía dentro de aquella boya. Los días pasaron, la familia de Finn comenzó su búsqueda. Confiaban en que Alex no le hizo nada por lo que pasó. Completamente desapercibido. Desapercibido. Finalmente se dio como un caso no resuelto. Pasaron los años. Alex ya era un científico muy reconocido gracias a sus inventos revolucionarios. Pero ¿será el resto de su vida pintada con colores de rosas? ¿Por tú? Oh my God. The Lactins es lo más aterrador que he visto es octubre. I don't even know if I'm saying half of this shit right. I'm so sorry. I know a lot of the vowels and like enunciations of things, but you guys asked me to, so I did. I thought it would be funny. I know, it kind of was. Same. I know some of you are like, damn girl, that's terrible. I'm white! I'm white. If my webcam were to accidentally show you my face, you'd be like, damn, that's a white ass honky. I don't know either, but it sounds good, so good job. It sounds right? Like, because if you just... I don't know. Some of them I know I got right. There's a couple words I'm iffy on. I don't remember how you pronounce Y's in Spanish or C's in Spanish, because I can't remember if you do a K for C's. Right, because you have Caterpie and capturar, right? And you even have like some of these, but sometimes it feels like you're supposed to like centrales. Obviously that's a, but con el nombre, right? I don't know. It's just different. Anyway. You're actually doing really good for not really speaking Spanish. You got about 80% right. Yush! 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 Oh my gosh, that's so cool, because I don't even remember fucking... Hola, me llamo Sena Bamban? Is that right? Is it me llamo? And I know, because my mom asks this all the time. She goes, ¿Qué hora es? So, like, what time is it? What's the hour? And then, one of the things my mom always says, she goes, Necesita agua. Necesito más agua. So, my mom is semi-fluent. She just likes to be a dickhead. And she has to be semi-fluent for her work, because there's too much Spanish speakers in the area, so... Sena mamacita, mamacita, hey. Really like that. I vibe with, hey mamacita. I like that. Activates my neurons. Woo! My neurons activated. Oh no! Oh yes. For you, it would be llama. Okay, so, hola. Me llama Sena Bamban. It's so bad because I was like gonna be like hola me llama and then say Sena's bear name and I was like ooh they can't know the bear name. I was bad one time when I had to introduce myself in Japanese too, like konnichiwa, and then I literally almost said my name and then put des, because you could go konnichiwa, Sena desu, and then it's just so easy. Hi, Sena. Or konnichiwa, watashi wa Sena desu. Yeah. I don't know. Watashi wa? Oh, that's probably incorrect. Well, Duolingo said it isn't, so fuck you. La biblioteca está al lado del taxi. Why is the stationary object always located next to the movable object? Who knows? Alright. Oh, this is a really short one. Ready? The woman next door to me is a bit weird. I just killed her husband, and instead of calling NYPD, she just dumped the body in the trash, acting as if nothing happened. That's a little weird. It's a little weird. Okay. I think this will be the last story, because I'm getting eepy. Okay, I'm not actually getting eepy. I just have work I still have to do. I have to work in VTube Studio, and then I have to do some art commissions. So, yay! Depression! Work! Work. That's all I ever need. I have to get up tomorrow, too. Maybe I should just go to bed, because I have to get up early tomorrow. Okay, so I'll just read this and then go to bed. Because then if I get up a little earlier, or I don't know. Tomorrow, for the stream, how do you feel? Like my core group is here. How do you guys feel about me doing Halloween movie Monster Smasher Pass? Oh, I think it would be just curse enough. What do you think? Would it be fun? I think I would have a lot of fun. And ... shit. Yes. Okay, cool. I know you guys are like, damn it, we're gonna see how fucking weird you are again. But it's like, it's okay, because you don't have to be in love with me. You just have to think I'm funny. Like, that's it. As my chat, the only thing I want you to think of me is be like, damn, she's fucking weird, but it's like, it's funny. She's just kind of, like, she makes me laugh. Like, aw, you make me laugh. Like, I want you to be like, I'm in love with her. I'm gonna find her and I'm gonna marry her. It's like, oh, no. If you find me, let's go shooting. I'll make you laugh. I'll say all the things I can't say on stream and say all the most ridiculous, perverse jokes that you're like, man, she really is a 13-year-old boy. You know? I don't know. She wants deniability for us. So sweet. Yeah. You do be funny. See. Oh, hi. Hi, Johnny. I hope you and Rachel are well. Hell yeah, Sena one of the homies. Hell yeah. You already showed us you're okay with Pokemon movie monsters can't be worse. Sure. If that is what you would like to believe, sure. Oh, it's terrible. Yeah. Admit nothing, deny everything, make counter accusations. Literally. This is how you do this. What do you mean? I didn't even do anything. What are you guys, homos? Are you homosexuals? Hello? There'll always be someone in chat who's like, yes. And I'll be like, oh, okay. It was a joke. Don't call the ambulance. Don't start the tweet longer. It really was a joke. It's okay. I like to think all of, Alphabet Mafia in my crowd tends to be understanding of humor. You know, they don't need, affirmation from everybody around them to continue living. So, that's nice. Thanks for that. I'm not a bunch of validation attention whores. I'm getting more and more mad. It's fine. I'll probably unlist this anyways, just because it's a gorilla. Who knows? We'll see. Maybe like, gamer word! And then unlist it. I can't do that now, though, because Dazzle's here. We'll clip it.
Sena said it. She said it.
I'll be like, damn it. I said oofy, and you clipped it. Oh. What were you thinking? Alright, sorry. I'll read it. I'm like stalling. Okay, estimated reading time. This is called the Tulpa. Okay. I saw that we have a Divegrass team and that I'm called the Tulpa, so let's find out what that means. I have looked it up. I'm not gonna like play dumb with you, but Let's find out how they made it into a creepypasta, which I can see that working fairly well. So I'm always here. Go to work or something. My neighbor? Okay. Wow. Last my muchacho, my hombre. Okay, let's go. It's Sunday. Oh yeah, you're in Euro fig time. Okay. Figgy Newton. I said fig, it doesn't count. Last year I spent 6 months participating in what I was told was a psychological experiment. I found an ad in my local paper looking for imaginative people looking to make good money. And since it was the only ad that week that I was remotely qualified for, I gave them a call and we arranged an interview. They told me that all I would have to do is stay in a room alone, with sensors attached to my head to read my brain activity, and while I was there, I would visualize a double of myself. They called it my tulpa. Seemed easy enough. And I agreed to do it as soon as they told me how much it would be paid. And the next day I began. They brought me to a simple room and gave me a bed, then attached sensors to my head and hooked them into a little black box on the table beside me. They talked me through the process of visualizing my double again, and explained that if I got bored or restless, instead of moving around, I should visualize my double moving around, or try to interact with him, and so on. The idea was to keep him with me the entire time I was in the room. I had trouble with it for the first few days. It was more controlled than any sort of daydreaming I'd done before. I'd imagine my double for a few minutes, then grow distracted. By the fourth day, I could manage to keep him present for the entire 6 hours. They told me I was doing very well. The second week, they gave me a different room with wall-mounted speakers. They told me they wanted to see if I could still keep the tulpa with me in spite of distracting stimuli. The music was discordant, ugly, and unsettling, and it made the process a little more difficult, but I managed nonetheless. The next week, they played even more unsettling music, punctuated with shrieks, feedback loops, what sounded like an old-school modem dialing up, and guttural voices speaking some foreign language. Just laughed it off. I was a pro by then. After about a month, I started to get bored. To liven things up, I started interacting with my doppelganger. We'd have conversations or play rock, paper, scissors, or I'd imagine him juggling or breakdancing or whatever caught my fancy. I asked the researchers if my foolishness would adversely affect their study, but they encouraged me. So we played and communicated, and that was fun for a while, and then it got a little strange. I was telling him about my first date one day, and he corrected me. I'd said my date was wearing a yellow top, and he told me it was a green one. I thought about it for a second and realized he was right. It creeped me out. And after my shift that day, I talked to the researchers about it. You're using the thought form to access your subconscious, they explained. You knew on some level that you were wrong, and you subconsciously corrected yourself. What had been creepy was suddenly cool. I was talking to my subconscious. It took some practice, but I found that I could question my tulpa and access all sorts of memories. I could make it quote whole pages of books I'd read once, years before, things I was taught and immediately forgot in high school. It was awesome. It was around the time I started calling up my double outside of the research center. Not often at first, I was so used to imagining him, but by now, it almost seemed odd to not see him. So when I was bored, I visualized my double. Eventually, I started doing it all the time. It was amusing to take him along with like an invisible friend. I imagined him when I was hanging out with friends or visiting my mom. I even brought him along on a date once. I didn't need to speak aloud to him, so I was able to carry out conversations with him, and no one was the wiser. I know that sounds strange, but it was fun. Not only was he a walking repository of everything I knew and everything I had forgotten, but he also seemed more in touch with me than I did at times. He had an uncanny grasp of the minutiae of body language that I didn't even realize I was picking up on. For example, I thought the date I brought him along on was going badly, but he pointed out how she was laughing a little too hard at my jokes and leaning towards me as I spoke, and a bunch of other subtle clues I wasn't consciously picking up on. I listened, and let's just say that date went very well.
By the time I'd been at the research center for 4 months, he was with me constantly. The researchers approached me one day after my shift and asked me if I'd stopped visualizing him. I denied it, and they seemed pleased. I silently asked my double if he knew what prompted that, but he just shrugged it off. So did I. I withdrew a little from the world at that point. I was having trouble relating to people. It seemed to me that they were so confused and unsure of themselves, while I had a manifestation of myself to confer with. It made socializing awkward. Nobody else seemed aware of the reasons behind their actions, why some things made them mad and others made them laugh. They didn't know what moved them, but I did. Or at least, I could ask myself and get an answer. A friend confronted me one evening. He pounded at the door until I answered it and came in fuming and swearing up a storm. "You haven't answered when I called you in fucking weeks, you dick!" He yelled. "What's your fucking problem?" I was about to apologize to him and probably would have offered to hit the bars with him that night, but my tulpa grew suddenly furious. "Hit him," it said. Before I knew what I was doing, I had. I heard his nose break. He fell to the floor and came up swinging, and we beat each other up and down my apartment. More furious than I had ever been, and I was not merciful. I knocked him to the ground and gave him 2 savage kicks to the rib, and that was when he fled, hunched over and sobbing. The police were by a few minutes later, but I told them he had been the instigator, and since he wasn't around to refute me, they let me off with a warning. My tulpa was grinning the entire time. We spent the night crowing about my victory and sneering over how badly I beat my friend. It wasn't until the next morning when I was checking out my black eye and cut lip in the mirror that I remembered what had set me off. My double was the one who'd grown furious, not me. I'd been feeling guilty and a little ashamed, but he'd goaded me into a vicious fight with a concerned friend. He was present, of course, and knew my thoughts. "You don't need him anymore. You don't need anyone else," he told me, and I felt my skin crawl. "Hi, teenage Sena." Hi. I explained all this to the researchers who employed me, but they just laughed it off. "You can't be scared of something that you're imagining," one told me. My double stood beside him and nodded his head, then smirked at me. I tried to take their words to heart, but over the next few days I found myself growing more and more anxious around my tulpa, and it seemed that he was changing. He looked taller and more menacing. His eyes twinkled with mischief, and I saw malice in his constant smile. No job was worth losing my mind over, I decided. If he was out of control, I'd put him down. So used to him at that point that visualizing him was an automatic process, so I started trying to not visualize him. It took a few days, but it started to work somewhat. I could get rid of him for hours at a time, but every time he came back, he seemed worse. His skin seemed ashen, his teeth more pointed. He hissed and gibbered and threatened and swore. The discordant music I'd been listening to for months seemed to accompany him everywhere. Even when I was at home, I'd relax and slip up, no longer concentrating on not seeing him, and there he'd be, and a howling noise with him. I was still visiting the research center and spending my 6 hours there. I needed the money, and I thought they weren't aware that I was now actively not visualizing my tulpa. I was wrong. After my shift one day, about 5.5 months in, 2 impressively men grabbed and restrained me, and someone in a lab coat jabbed a hypodermic needle into me. I woke up from my stupor back in the room, strapped into the bed, music blaring, with my doppelganger standing over me cackling. He hardly looked human anymore. His features were twisted, his eyes were sunken in their sockets, he filmed over like a corpse's. He was much taller than me, but hunched over. His hands were twisted and the fingernails were like talons. He was, in short, fucking terrifying. I tried to will him away, but I couldn't seem to concentrate. He giggled, and I tapped the IV in the arm. I thrashed my restraints as best I could, but could hardly move at all. They're pumping me full of good shit, I think. How's mine? All fuzzy? He leaned closer and closer as he spoke. I gagged. His breath smelled like spoiled meat. I tried to focus, but couldn't banish him. The next few weeks were terrible. Every so often, someone in a doctor's coat would come in and inject me with something or force feed me a pill. They kept me dizzy and unfocused and sometimes left me hallucinating or delusional. My thought form was still present, constantly mocking. He interacted with, or perhaps caused, my delusions. I hallucinated that my mother was there scolding me, and then he cut her throat and blood showered me. It was so real that I could taste it. The doctors never spoke to me. I begged at times, screamed, hurled invectives, demanded answers. They never spoke to me. They may have talked to my Topo, my personal monster. I'm not sure. I was so doped and confused that it may have just been more delusion, but I remember them talking again. I grew convinced that he was the real one, and I was the thought for him. He encouraged that line of thought at times, mocked me at others. Another thing that I craved was a delusion. He could touch me. More than that, he could hurt me. He poked and prodded me. If he felt I wasn't paying attention to him, once he grabbed my testicles and squeezed until I told him I loved him. Ew. Another time he slashed my forearm with one of his talons. I still have a scar. Most days I convinced myself that I injured myself and just hallucinated that he was responsible. Most days. Ayo, ow, right? That's weird. I don't, what? Is that how Paul's work? Oh, I don't want to know. I don't want to know. I want to know. I don't want to. Then one day while he was telling me a story about how he was going to gut everyone I loved, starting with my sister, he paused. A querulous look crossed his face and reached out and touched my head. Like my mother used to when I was feverish, she stayed still for a long moment and then smiled. All thoughts are creepy, he told me. Then he walked out the door. 3 hours later, I was given an injection and passed out. I awoke unrestrained, shaking. I made my way to the door and found it unlocked. I walked out to the empty hallway and then ran. I stumbled more than once, but I made it down the stairs and out into the lot behind the building. There, I collapsed, weeping like a child. I knew I had to keep moving, but I couldn't manage it. I got home eventually. I don't remember how. I locked the door and shoved a dresser against it, took a long shower, and slept for a day and a half. Nobody came for me one night, and nobody came the next day or the one after that. It was over. I'd spent a week locked in that room, but it felt like a century. I'd withdrawn so much from my life beforehand that nobody had even known I was missing. Yeah, girl probably wrote this. Yeah, probably. The police didn't find anything. The research center was empty when they searched it. The paper trail fell apart. The names I'd given them were aliases. Even the money I received was apparently untraceable. I recovered as much as one can. I don't leave the house much. I have panic attacks when I do. I cry a lot. I don't sleep much. My nightmares are terrible. It's over, I tell myself. I survived. I used the concentration those bastards taught me to convince myself. It works. Sometimes. Not today, though. 3 days ago, I got a phone call from my mother. There's been a tragedy. My sister, the latest victim in a spree of killings, the police say. The perpetrator mugs his victims, then guts them. The funeral was this afternoon. It was a lovely service, as a funeral can be, I suppose. I was a little distracted, though. All I could hear was music coming from somewhere distant, discordant. Unsettling stuff that sounds like feedback and shrieking and a modem dialing up. I hear it still a little louder now. Dude, that one actually gave me a little chillies. Little chillies. Welcome chillies. That one creeped up my neck a little bit. I pray before I go to bed. I go to bed watching something funny like Bob Burgers. Suddenly the BGM gets louder. Alright. This has been Halloween spooky creepypasta reading Sena Bonbon. You guys set up for a raid. And yeah, this is the 3D model. Hopefully I can do something fun like some sort of post something on like VR chat for the community. That would be very nice. I thought I must. Let's see. Who's live? Who can't read? Excuse me. Pip is still alive. Let's just write Pip. Just chat and what's chat? That's glorious. Hold on.
Thanks for the stream. Yeah, thanks for coming to the little gorilla. And I will be there this time. Okay. Bye 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 bye.